Hi, and welcome to IEP Answers. I'm Liz Weaver of Learning Success, and I'll be your host for this exciting video series. IEP Answers is an initiative to help you understand individualized education plans, otherwise known as IEPs. In this video series, you will hear from educational professionals and parents alike, giving you a well-rounded perspective from a variety of viewpoints. This information will help you determine if an IEP is needed at all, and if so, how to work with the school to design an IEP that is a scaffolding to build a better student rather than a crutch for them to lean on. In today's video, we have Dr. Carole Lieberman. Dr. Lieberman is a well-known Beverly Hills child psychiatrist and parenting expert. She has years of experience with IEPs, both as a treating psychiatrist of kids and families and as a forensic psychiatrist helping parents who have had to take legal action to secure an IEP and the proper special education resources for their child. In this video, she's going to talk to us about understanding the responsibilities of the school in an IEP.
I'm Dr. Carole Lieberman. I'm a psychiatrist in Beverly Hills, and I have experience with IEPs from two angles. One is, of course, that I do therapy with children and families, and some of those require IEPs. And another angle is that I'm a forensic psychiatrist. And for those families who have had difficulty with IEPs, getting them in the first place or getting them continued or getting all the services that they thought that they needed. So I am involved in cases such as that. Now, my advice as a psychiatrist with this experience is, first of all, to not be afraid of speaking up and demanding an IEP. Don't be afraid of asking for one in the first place. That is a problem that so many parents have. They think, oh, well, maybe my child doesn't need it and other kids need it more, or maybe they won't grant an IEP to me for my child, or sometimes parents have too much pride to ask for an IEP. They don't want to believe that their child has some kind of learning issue that an IEP would help them for. And that usually is because of parents identifying too much with kids and with their kids. And, it brings back feelings that they had when they were in school and not, wanting to feel smarter or smart enough and so on. So it's all these different kinds of issues that can get in the way in the first place for asking for an IEP. Now, one of the problems in getting an IEP is that, and this is especially for crowded public schools, is that it takes time, that schools, teachers already are feeling pressed for time and pressed for money. So an IEP requires all of these people getting together to talk about your child, and that takes their time away from classwork or being a school psychologist or whatever it is else that they do at the school. And so they're reluctant oftentimes to take all of this manpower into a meeting that's usually at least an hour and to give it to various kids, especially these days, because so many more kids these days are having problems learning, whether it's because of issues like ADD or ADHD or depression, anxiety, autism spectrum, all kinds of psychological issues, and so they are potentially being and increasingly being overloaded with parents asking for IEPs, and so that makes them more reluctant. And there is a real issue of time and money, but that doesn't mean that your child should get lost between the cracks. So you really have to make an effort, because sometimes first it takes a written request for your child to be evaluated for an IEP. And if that is ignored or delayed, it's not supposed to be delayed after a certain amount of time. And if they say no after they do, let's say they do an evaluation and they say no, or they make you go out and get a private person to do an evaluation, whatever it takes, sometimes it can be a rather rocky road to get to the actual accomplishment of getting an IEP. But you shouldn't lose hope, and you should just be persistent, politely persistent, and keep on going. Also, if there are two parents available, you should make an effort to make two parents be available for both parents to come to the IEP, because there is strength in numbers. People are listened to more if there are two of you rather than if there is one of you. And also, the second parent can back up things, can give other examples of instances when, for example, it took your child a long time to do their homework, or they got bad grades on tests, or perhaps your child is already seeing a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and obviously letters from them are very helpful. But even though it can be sort of a rocky road, as I said, not like the ice cream, you really have to keep persisting. And I mean, some parents, in my experience with patients, I've had some parents who who gave up. It was a very rocky road, and at some point they gave up and they just went outside and they got a tutor. But not everybody can afford that, number one, and number two, you shouldn't have to afford that when it is mandated for the schools for appropriately qualified students to provide that kind of education. So, and the other thing would be that you need to sort of prepare your child. It's important to not make your child feel as though they are being singled out, special ed, that they're not special in a bad way, that some of the most brilliant people, some scientists and uh, all kinds of people who have high positions have had different kinds of learning disorders. So you really need to sort of, because they're going to be interviewed when they're being evaluated for the IEP. So it's important to not make them feel like they're dumb, or that they are sitting in a corner with a dunce cap, or anything like that, any of those kinds of stereotypes. But that you are just different people have different ways of learning, and you are just trying to help them find the way that works best for their success.
Thank you so much for that video. A lot of really good points for parents. This video has been part of the IEP Answers initiative, an initiative to educate parents about IEPs from a variety of viewpoints. We've created this because this is an important subject that many parents need to understand. Please make sure to share the video and use the hashtag IEP Answers so we can find you on social media. If you would like to be a part of IEP Answers initiative and share your story or expertise on the subject, please get in touch with us by using the contact form at www.learningsuccesssystem.com and put IEP Answers in the subject line. Thank you for taking the time to watch and share. In case no one else has told you yet today, you are an amazing parent. I appreciate you for showing up and doing the work it takes to embrace your child's brilliance and unleash their potential. I'm Liz Weaver from Learning Success, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.